Hey, what's up, fam? We have a big week coming up and a short week, so I'm going to hop right into things. Just go ahead and get things started. All right. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This session is solely for educational purposes. There's significant financial risk associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. Okay, so let's just hop right into things. This is our options flow for Friday and for the week. On Friday, the top call options flow went into Tesla, Google, Class A, Class C, Home Depot, and XLV, Healthcare. Okay. On the short side, we had Microsoft Coin, Apple ARM, and CRWV. There's ARC up there also. Just a sec. Just making some notes. Okay, and for the week, the top call options flow went into NVIDIA, Palantir, X, ARM, and Meta. On the short side, we had Apple, CRM, Coin, UNH, and Tesla. Let me just make another note here. Moving right along. All right, so our profits total. So this is our 2025 total yearly profit summary. As you can see here from January the 2nd through June 13th, this is our performance overview. The weekly average profit 1600, the monthly the average monthly profit 6566, the average profits per trade 198%. And so if you look at the total year net profits, so net profits meaning after you extract the losses, you minus the losses from the wins, you get $36,114, right? And so for the $250 membership, that's a 14.4 thousand% ROI. For the 175 membership, that's a 20.6 thousand% ROI. Now remember, these totals reflect pure net profits, and they're based on purchasing just a single contract per trade alert. So that means for every trade, you just have to buy one contract to get this total. Major risk management. Very important around here. So I always go through the slides just so you can see, have more transparency on what went on each month. January 2025, we cleared $4,600. February of 2025, $8,400. For March, 6,100. For, oops, I said March. Where is April? Damn, I don't know what happened to April. I probably hid the slide by mistake. May, we got 6,400. I gotta go back and find that slide somewhere. And for June thus far, we had 1,900. So thus far, June, our net profits, sorry, yeah, net profits for June, $1,900. I didn't trade a whole lot this month thus far. I've been on vacation for like 2 weeks and I tried to trade a little bit in between there, but yeah, that's where we are so far. And today is the 15th. Well, yeah, the 15th. So we got another half of June left. So let's see what happens there with the rest of this month. All right. Market talk. All right. So let's just start. I took some notes today. I've had some, made sure I stick on topic. So market talk, not trading every day. So yeah, y'all gotta just think about this in the most simple way possible. Discipline is better than activity. You don't have to be trading all the time. Now, this is a strategic business. It's not a hustle. It's not a hustle for, dopamine hits. It's not, you're not here to look for that high, that rush, that ick that you get from gambling. That's not what you're here for, right? And if there's no setup, there's no trade. We got to protect our edge. And that's why when it's time to trade because you've been sitting around waiting for your setup. And if it doesn't happen, you don't trade. Know your limitations. This is very important. You're not a machine. You got to know when you're off. Like me, if I take a bad trade and I know my head wasn't in it and something just wasn't right or I'm not in the right headspace, I'm just taking the day off. I don't care how anyone feel about that because whenever I go against that feeling, and I always live to regret it. And I'm the one that has to deal with that. My integrity is more important than, feeding you trades. I know you're going to make money because I'm going to have more on days than off days. So I just rather not trade when I know I'm off or I'm not focused and it's not time for me to trade. Mental clarity matters. You got to avoid trading tired, distracted, or emotionally charged. Just sit back, just step away from it. You got to know what you're good at and stick to your lane. Stay in that lane. I just now got finished touching on this, but I don't trade every day, and you shouldn't either. We talk about the option trading Bible all the time, and how important those things are. So my consistency didn't come from more trades; it came from better ones you know? So if you join this community mid-cycle, don't expect instant fireworks. Sometimes it may be like, okay, it's a cool off period. We just came off of a rush. And I'm like, okay, now let me just sit back because, even the best of us, we get a little in our head like, okay, damn, because your members start saying, oh, damn, you can't miss. That's when I step back because then you get a little bit above yourself. I just take a step back and just look at what's going on and see, let the dust settle a little bit. And so I always say, give the process a real 30-day cycle before judging results. Like I'll have members, like I was on vacation the last 2 weeks. I was in Puerto Rico for like a week, and then I went straight from Puerto Rico to LA for the BET Awards. I was out there for a week. And so I wasn't really trading, but we had some pretty good trades before I left. And, I try to sprinkle some trades in there in the middle and stuff like that when I get a chance, just to kind of to make sure the team is if I see opportunities, right? But it's like when I know I'm not going to be focused and I'm not going to be there to be accountable for the team, then I don't need to be alert in trades like that. So I had a few members join while I was on vacation. And after like a week, I had one member say, well, um, not enough, not enough updates and value for the price. And I'm like, you just joined a week ago. What are you talking about? I'm on vacation, but I can't really do anything about that. Some people just want this instant gratification and, they can go other places and get that, but, they're not going to get the amount of value for the risk management. Like I said, around here, you can buy one contract and make a lot of money. And, it's going to come. It has a nice building effect around here. You don't have, this is, we small account friendly. And if you have a large account, you can maneuver around here is better than, putting up $5,000 just to make 30%. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that around here. Whatever money you putting up other places, if you can multiply the trades that but anyway, I don't want to go off topic. That's why I got these topics, but just give it a full 30 days. You got to really treat this like a job. Impatience equal account killer. Impatience equal account killer. This is important because every time someone quits early, they're right at the door. They were right at the door. So it's like they'll leave because they were impatient. And then the next day, and then, 2 days later, or next day, or maybe even the same day, a big trade gets called out or something like that. You just got to sit around and wait. It's like I notice a lot of members, they'll come in here and they see other members talking about trades and they chase these other members and then they leave them hanging. It's like you hear someone in here talking about price action and talking about a stock, and they'll tell you, when it's hitting. And then soon as that setup breaks down, they just disappear. You don't hear anything from them no more. And now this new person who was following behind them is stuck. So that's why you can't do that. On days that I'm not trading for a reason. I've been doing this for a long time. This is my full-time job. This is what I do. And like I said, I quit my job 5 years ago. So I'm not going to be tethered to the market all the time. Now, listen, I love the market. I love everything about the market. But when I'm in a zone, I'll trade. When I'm not in a zone, I'm not going to trade. If I'm on vacation, I got plans. I planned on not trading this day. Most of the time, I'm not going to trade. And so you have to respect that. Give this process some time. Or you join for a reason, not because, well, you see a bunch of people talking or you're expecting something to happen, or it says, or we have live trading on Tuesday or on Thursday. Like I said, these are just days that if I'm trading that day, I'll be streaming live. Stuff like that. If I have something to say and I feel like the team needs it, or we'll stream live. We stream live on Wednesdays. We've done that on Fridays. You know what I mean? So it's not really a static situation. It's more dynamic based on the need and what's going on. I'm the trader here. I'm the one. I'm the professional here. So if I'm trading, I'm not gonna. It's I get that everyone has expectations, but when it comes to making money, this is one of them situations where I'm following what the market gives me, and if my setup is there, the perfect catalyst is there, then we'll trade. It's not because XYZ said. Are we still trading today? Or it's like, the whole passive aggressive thing, like I was trying to get on the live stream and it wasn't there. Like, I'm not trading today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trading today, so I'm not getting on there. It's like you're telling yourself, I'm not going to gamble today, but let's just sit in the casino at this slot machine just in case. It's an appetite for disaster, and that's not where I'm at. Like I said, I fired my job 5 years ago, so I'm not going to be tethered to the market on days that I'm not trading. If you hear you're gonna make your money's worth. If you pay 250 to be here for a month, you're gonna make 1,000% ROI on that at least. We haven't had, like, again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or nothing like that, but the numbers don't lie. If you follow this process, yeah, we might cut a trade here and there, but if you follow my process, you're gonna make your money and you're gonna end each month with a net profit. But people like to veer off and do their own things and think they're smart, trying to teach the teacher, or trying to, like I said, in one of the previous steps, don't trade with your emotions. You know what I mean? If you're some people, they get charged off of their emotions and they'll trade just to try to prove a point to me. You can't prove nothing to me. The only way to prove something to me is to show that you can follow my process, the process that I've built, that helped me fire my job. You know what I'm saying? You see, I'm traveling all over the world doing all types of things, and I don't answer to nobody in terms of my freedom. So if that's not you, then you should follow this process. And then a step further, if you're not up $32,000, $36,000 on the year based off of one contract per trade alert. And again, I'm not saying that that's all we made this year. I'm just saying that that's just the bare minimum off of one contract. If you're not up that, if you don't have a net profit of at least 30,000 this year, then you should be following this process so you can make some money, replace your salary. Like, get over yourself and just follow this process. It's here for a reason. And, I just need y'all to do that. Like I said, impatience blind you from growth. And the people eating off this process are the ones who stayed long enough to learn the rhythm. And that's what you got to do. You can't just up and quit. Quitters never win. Onboarding process and onboarding their materials matter. So check this out. We have something called the Trading Bible. Now, that's your emergency parachute on the worst days. It's like people like to skip these things and be like, you know what? I ain't going to do what he said here because the last trade he alerted it went up like 300%. So I jumped in at any time. I didn't follow that process and I still made money. But the reason that the options trading Bible, it gives you those laws that are going to protect you in those times where it's not smooth sailing. Like I said, on certain days when the market is running, anybody can make money, even a caveman, right? So you're not doing anything, like I'm special in those days. Neither am I. I'm just following my process, and it happens to work out. But what protects me is the trading Bible. I came up with those laws to help and protect y'all on slow days where I'm not trading. Y'all should be studying the options trading Bible, going through the stuff in the onboarding materials, and going down those rabbit holes because they venture off into different places. So that's what you should be doing. Look at this like a career. That's why like I don't respect anybody who don't take this process seriously because I'm like, damn, these people actually they go work for these people 40 hours a week for these people away from their family, saying money don't really matter, but you're spending it away from the most important people to you, and we don't have that much time on this earth just to come in this community and blow your account trying to prove something to me when you could be running that money up to the point where you up if you up $30,000 or at least if you up the whole $36,000 on a year that we've that this community made in net profits, right, from one contract per trade alert, then you most people that's a lot of people's salary. But we're on course, like I said, for 80 bands for this year per single contract per trade alert. That's amazing risk management. So you're only risking the cost of one contract per trade. And we got some parameters in place, but a lot of people they come in here, they skip the onboarding process, and it tags them in it. It sends them a DM as soon as they join. It tags them in a post in the public lounge and everything. So everyone knows this process. But like I said, on slow days, don't be so quick to trade. Don't start being passive aggressive towards me, asking me questions like you're gonna get a trade if I'm not trading. I want you to go study that trading Bible. So when I have them open book tests where I post a chart and just start talking about setups and not posting a trade, because there are days where I do that too. Because if I know like I'm going to the barbershop or I'm not gonna be around or it's a slow trading day and I just want to, talk about setups and throw some things out there, y'all don't know when to get in the trade. Y'all don't know what strike to buy because y'all skipping the onboarding process because y'all so busy to want to trade. And then you get mad. Your faces be big as hell when you get clapped. I had one trade, it jumped up like I forgot what it was, but it jumped up right at market open and we updated the profits on it. And somebody was like, well, when was it that price? I'm like, I guess you ain't even paying attention. Just these people just be asleep at the wheel. Just be asleep at the wheel, not really paying attention to anything, and it won't take accountability. And you just gotta, like I said, you gotta learn the Greeks. You gotta understand a lot of things. But what I do here, I come up with a process that kind of encapsulate everything that you need to learn just to get you started and get you going and protect you in this market. And y'all gotta really understand that. That's the most important part of this. That's it. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Skipping the materials is like showing up to the war without your gear. You know what I'm saying? All of the answers are in there. Don't wait until you blow it up. Don't wait till you blow up your account to read it. I want you to do it now. Like a lot of questions I hear getting asked during market hours while we're in during power hour at that when we're in a war zone. I'm like, damn, they just read the options trading Bible. It's like just you got to take this seriously. Look at this like your job. Like I said, people will go, and I'm not no disrespect to people that work at these places, but people will go work at Walmart or go work at Amazon and they'll go into orientation for these people and do whatever they tell them to do for these pennies. They slaving them out for pennies, telling them that it takes a whole hour to make $15. And they'll do everything they say, show up every day. I can't use my phone. I couldn't trade because I couldn't go on break. So y'all listen to those people, but you won't follow the process where I'm just telling you, just look at the options trading Bible. Look at the onboarding materials first. Make sure go through it carefully. I had someone DM me and ask, how do I book a coach? And I'm like, what? That's on the first page in the options trade in the trade in the start here. So it's like, just always go reference that first before asking a question. And just take this seriously. Nobody got time to handhold people who aren't taking this process seriously. I'm gonna tell y'all, I got like probably over 300 DMs in my Instagram, and I don't know how many on Discord that I don't respond to because of the questions that they ask. I'm like, if they just click that link in the bio, would have answered all of those questions, but they won't, or at least paraphrase, like I read this, but I need more information on this or something. I ignore those messages because I say if they're not gonna click the link and read that, then they're gonna skip the start here in the onboarding materials and they're gonna blow their account. So all money ain't good money. So I'd rather if you're here, it's because I look at you as if I invited you here, or if you're here and you're still here, you're here because you're following this process. You want to make it work and you want to fire your job, or you just want some extra income, or you just want to be a better trader. And that's what I'm here for. I'm not going to handhold or there are my times where I do that. I love to walk price down with the team, can do a lot of those things. But I'm going to tell you, when people come in this community, they have certain characteristics about them. And I tell them off the bat, and I'm the first to say it. I'm like, oh, you're not going to last here. You should just go ahead and leave. You're not going to follow this process. I had a person tell me that. Um, I had a person, well, it doesn't matter what they said, but I said that to a person a few months ago and like 2 months ago. And they came back and let me know after posting their first win, like, you told me I should probably leave and that this process wasn't for me and that I should just go ahead and go because I'm not going to follow it. But I'm glad I didn't listen to you and I stayed. And they posted a nice win, you know, and they talked about how great the process was and how this was going to be a good idea to follow this process. And they were motivated. And then they ended up leaving anyway. You know what I mean? So, because you can't get out of, you got to get out of your own way. But I knew they were going to leave anyway. They could not follow a simple process. You have to have discipline. You have to have discipline. And I know the people who are going to last and the people that aren't. This community isn't for everybody. This trading in general isn't for anyone. So, but it is what it is. And just know that like I said, I didn't learn how to trade during COVID. A lot of these gurus out here, no disrespect to them, but they learned how to trade during COVID. You know what I mean? I've been trading, like you can go back to my Instagram. I got I got old raps talking about options trading back in like 2016, you know what I mean? 2015. And being at T Rowe Price and actually being on the trade desk floor and watching some of these traders, these people trade and looking at everything that they do and asking the right questions and really paying attention to everything. You know what I mean? So it's a lot more that goes into what y'all know, and we only just basically touching the tip of the iceberg of what we can do in this options trading world. But again, we got a lot to cover today, but I just wanted to kind of make sure I cover this here because it's very important. I want y'all to be successful, but y'all got to follow this process and stop trying to rush me. Like I said, I know I joke around, and you might see I might have diamond teeth, and you might see me doing a whole lot of stuff. I joke a lot, but I'm serious when it comes to this options trading stuff. And don't ever underestimate this process or think you can undermine it because of anything else. That's your biggest vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? Like just follow this process and let's make this money together. Come on, let's move on. All right. Chart setups. All right, before I get into chart setups, I'm gonna jump into economic data because we have a interesting week. You know, we got a Fed decision, but before I get into that, right? So yeah, I'll get into it. So we got a Fed decision. We got two Fed decision, and this is the quarterly where we get the quarterly. So we get the dot plot. So we get the forecast into the next quarter. So we'll know if Powell thinks that we probably get any rate cuts or something like that. So I think arguably this is probably the most important Fed decision that we've had thus far in 2025. So we'll see what's going to happen. It's a lot more to go into that too, that we'll touch on because just look at it like this. We got FOMC. It's a big opportunity, a big chance that Powell say something about rate cuts, but we'll see. We'll get the opinions of all of the other Fed members in the dot plot and what their thoughts are going forward. The market is closed for Juneteenth. So this is the day after the Fed decision. The market is closed and it's triple witching. It's a triple witching week. So it's a lot going on. So what I'm thinking, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm planning to do for this week, but what I do know is that these markets, they may stall waiting on the Fed. So we'll see. It may just be a choppy week all around. And so we just got to watch that. But I just feel like, but then the fact that we got the market is closed the day after, for Juneteenth, and then that Friday is triple witching. So I just feel like the volatility may pick up, but not always a clean opportunity. Big moves, and a lot of times those positions they start to unwind, but then we got the triple witching. So it's a lot that's going on all at the same time, and then we got the Iran Israel conflict. So that adds a lot of it. So I'm thinking our biggest move is going to probably happen on Monday. That's why we swung over the weekend. So just like again, just hope everybody is locked in on those. I just want to make sure that we are ready We just going to trade setups only, no forced trades this week. You got to know your entries and exits before entering. And just on Friday, if you are going to trade Friday, smaller sizes on Friday. You just want to be on point. It's not a day to just be trying to just force trades. Everybody's going to be people out there. They're going to have more dummies that they can get money from. It shouldn't be us. But like I said, we got triple witching. So it's important because we got index futures expiring, we got index options expiring, and stock options expiring. So we got a whole lot happening. And so it can be a lot of volatility. But a lot of times, what I learned over the years is it don't always just be Friday. They start offloading throughout the week. So keep that in mind. Other things happening this week. We got on Monday, we got New York Fed Manufacturing Index. We got retail sales data on Tuesday. We got industrial production on Tuesday, jobless claims Wednesday, uh, building permits Wednesday, housing starts, and like I said, the Fed rate decision all happening Wednesday. Juneteenth, we're closed. And then Friday, we got Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. So we got a lot of stuff happening this upcoming week to watch out for. All right, so to chart setups. All right, I'll start with the first chart that I have up. So this is gold. You see gold broke out of this bullish flag we have here. Nice flag gold broke out of. So just we're gonna have to keep gold on watch because gold with if the, I'm not sure how the market is going to be impacted tomorrow. We will see how the Asian futures open tonight, but let's just we're going to play accordingly. If over 317.60, look for a move to 320.26. If we were to lose that 315.04, look for yeah, if we were to lose the 315.04, my bad, look for a retest of the 312.34 for gold. Meta lost the 90 EMA here with an inverse hammer on the daily. This is a interesting situation right here for Meta. I'm gonna start with the upside. All right, so over 694.57, look for a retest of, I'm sorry, what did I say? Over, yeah, my bad. Yeah, over 694, 694. That's just so y'all see where I'm pointing at. Make sure you can see. Over 694.57. Look for a retest of 703. Yeah, 703.07. That would be my first target there for Meta, and so on. If we were to lose that 681, so lose 681, look for a retest of 660, 668.40. That's a nice little drop down, and then we could possibly go even further if it doesn't bounce there. Keep Meta on watch. Just doing them in order as I have them noted. Here's RH, man. So RH lost its 50 EMA, flushed down, closed the gap, and it finished right here slightly at this level, this area here. If we were to lose that 187.26, excuse me, look for a retest of 183.76. Yeah, 183.76 and possibly even lower. I got other levels here, as you can see. Now, it would take a long way up. Now, there's a few ways to play this because we can get a bounce. If we get a bounce off of where we are right here, then look for a retest of this 193.70 and then the 200 PL. All right, CVNA. This is another one. It finished at an interesting level right there, kind of sort of key level area-ish right there. Yeah. So we'll see if it actually bounces here or get a continuation to the downside. I mean, it looked like it wants that 50 EMA, but we'll see what happens if it loses this area. So under 295.39, look for a a retest of 290.49, then 284.28, and then so on. If we were to clear 313, look for a retest of 322, and so on. All right, Lulu. Lulu. All right. So this one is Lulu has just been, as you see, we've been getting a continuation after continuation after continuation. It's been coming down all week. So here we go. Now, let me zoom out on Lulu for a second so you can see a clearer picture. There we go. All right, so the same. All right, so if we were to lose this 238.25, look for a retest of 234.94 and possibly lower. So I got more levels there. You can always, I want y'all to look at my chart and see my levels. That's what I want. Now, if we were to clear 248.25, look for a 248.25, look for a retest of 251.30, 254, and so on. But keep Lulu on watch. This thing is just, this hasn't been doing well. And this is one of them situations where, we could possibly just continue to fall. Tesla. Tesla finished with a bullish engulf and reclaiming its 50 it's two I'm sorry, it's it bounced off its 50 with a 223 bullish engulf and reclaiming its 9 EMA here. So this is how we finish here on Tesla with increasing volume. The volume looks great here on Tesla too. Over 332, I'm gonna say over 333. So over 333, look for a retest of, matter of fact, let's do this. Over 333.70. Our first target is going to be 339.41, 344.87, and so on, back up to 350. If we were to lose 313.30, look for a see, you know what? I'm gonna say this. If we lose 331, 330, I'm sorry, 311. If we lose 311.46, our first target would be 302.16. The second target would be 296.78, and then 289.36. Keep Tesla on watch. Apple finished with a bearish engulfing. So there we go. Bearish engulfing after rejecting the non-EMA yet again. So if we were to lose that 195.70, next target would be 194.31, 193.14, 191.47. If we were to clear the 200.37, so 200.37, all right, first target would be 201.32, 202.99, and then back up to 205. Keep this one on watch too. Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is just holding on to its non-EMA. It finished just above it, holding at this level here. So structure still is trying to hold intact. If we were to clear 620.12, so 620.12, we're going to probably close that gap up there first, and then our target is 625.22, and then 629.84. If we were to lose that 609.59, first target would be 608.43, 605.07, and 600. Keep Goldman Sachs on watch. You already hit gold. I'm going to do XLE. XLE is an ETF that tracks the energy sector. Energy may be pretty good to watch right now. See, we reclaimed this level and bounced off of it. I like this right here. You're going to keep it on watch because, again, this got all of our energy stocks in there, like our Exxons and our CVXs, stuff like that. Oil is a lot going on with oil when there's a war, especially over there, what's going on right now. So what I'll say is over 88.57. My target for this would be 90. So over 88.57, look for a retest of the 90 PL. I like this finish here. We finished with a hammer after bouncing off a key level and gapping up. If we were to lose that 86.95, look for a retest of, yeah, what did I say? Yeah, 86.95. Look for a retest of 86.21 and then probably back down at 86.25.14 and 84.03. So keep it on watch. Keep energy on watch. Again, it's better than playing individual stocks. It doesn't move as fast, but it's safer. QQQ. All right. Here we go. So QQQ rejected the non-EMA, finishing with an inverse hammer, finishing at a level, but not so much of a key level, but it finished at a level. It looked like it has some nice room down if we were to get a continuation. And it looked like the market is likely to gap down. But again, we're not going to judge it now. We're going to see what the market does. Under 525.73. Look for a move to back down to 522.49, 520.81, 518.85. If we were to clear 531.87, look for a retest. But I say 531.87. Look for a retest of 536. 536, 531.87, my bad. Yeah, that was where I said, yeah. Look for a retest of 536.78, and we can go from there. I'm gonna zoom out so you can see the weekly, so you can see what's going on here. So, yeah, so we're still holding up pretty well. We'll see how this market broke down. But you see, we got time frame continuity. We got the inverse hammer on the weekly and the daily here. So, yeah, just keep it on watch. Now, I'm gonna show y'all the VIX right now. The VIX is the volatility gauge. So it gauges fear in the market. And you see we getting a breakout here. It's been coming down because the market's been running. There hasn't been a lot of fear in the market. This measures fear in the market. As you see, we got a breakout with a hammer. I mean, it's holding, it just reclaimed this 200-day EMA, but it hasn't reclaimed the 50 yet. But this is considered a breakout. We're going to see what happens here because we'll just go from there. Use the VIX to measure the fear in the market. So it's starting to come back because again, we were going down. So we'll see how everything plays out. But again, like I said, most of this, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of what ifs that's going to happen here that could possibly happen this week. So just know that the Fed decision Wednesday, that's going to have a lot of attention. So a lot of market may chop around, up until we get that Fed decision. A lot of times smart money they sits things out. Now, since they got Juneteenth on Thursday in the middle of the week, a lot of times smart money take off Friday too. So just be careful, if you're trading on these days, because most likely, and then it's going to be quad, like I said, then we got triple witching, quad witching also on Friday. So just be careful with that. So when there's macro data out there, macro issues and related market choppiness, there's nothing you can really do about it but sit it out until smart money comes back in. Then we got the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict. So you just gotta just cover all of these things. The geopolitical uncertainty always has a lot of things that can cause a lot of uncertainty in the market. And this one may be a little different. It's just starting to unfold. They canceled the meeting that the U.S. was supposed to have with Iran to discuss the nuclear stuff, and because they believe that the U.S. knew about the whole attacks before they happened, and they were ready to go to war with whoever. So we're gonna see what happens. I already know we're already in position. So the plan is to take profit. So I'm not necessarily looking for new trade ideas for tomorrow. I'm looking to take profit on the trades that I'm already in because I know we're gonna get a big move and go from there. So we're just going to see what the overnight futures can do, what the overnight futures and oil can do. But we'll see. Thank y'all for hopping on. And if you're watching this on YouTube or something like that, like it, throw a like on there so I know that y'all like to get this content here. And I'll see y'all this week. Cheers.